The topic of charity encompasses various aspects, including the act of giving to those in need, supporting causes, and volunteering time or resources for the betterment of society. Charitable actions can range from donating money or goods to participating in community service projects or advocating for social change. Charity plays a significant role in addressing social issues, providing assistance to vulnerable populations, and fostering compassion and empathy within communities. Charity is the act of giving help, typically in the form of money, goods, or services, to those in need, without expecting anything in return. It's about extending compassion and support to individuals, communities, or causes that require assistance, often with the aim of alleviating suffering, improving quality of life, or promoting social justice. Charity can take many forms, from donating to organizations that provide food and shelter to the homeless, to volunteering time at a local soup kitchen, to fundraising for medical research or disaster relief efforts. Certainly. Let's delve a bit deeper into the topic of charity. 1. Purpose. Charity serves the purpose of addressing various social, economic, and environmental issues. It aims to support individuals or communities who are disadvantaged, marginalized, or facing hardships. 2. Types of charity. Charity can be categorized into different types based on its focus area. These include humanitarian aid, providing immediate assistance in the aftermath of disasters such as earthquakes, floods, or conflicts. Social welfare, supporting initiatives that aim to improve living conditions, education, health care, and basic needs of underprivileged populations. Environmental conservation, contributing to efforts that protect and preserve natural habitats, wildlife, and ecosystems. Medical research, funding research projects aimed at finding cures or treatments for diseases and medical conditions. Education, supporting educational programs, scholarships, and schools to ensure access to quality education for all. 3. Methods of giving. Charity can be practiced through various means, including monetary donations, giving money to charitable organizations, nonprofits, or crowdfunding campaigns. In-kind donations, providing goods or services directly to those in need, such as donating clothing, food, or professional skills. Volunteerism, offering time, skills, or expertise to support charitable causes through hands-on involvement. Advocacy and awareness, raising awareness about social issues and advocating for policy changes or systemic reforms to address root causes of problems. 4. Impact. Charity has a significant impact on individuals, communities, and society as a whole. It can alleviate poverty and hunger by providing essential resources and support, improve access to education, health care, and basic services, empower marginalized groups and promote social inclusion and equality, foster a culture of compassion, empathy, and social responsibility, drive positive change and contribute to building stronger, more resilient communities. 5. Challenges. Despite its noble intentions, charity also faces challenges such as ensuring transparency and accountability in the use of funds and resources, addressing systemic issues and root causes of poverty and inequality, balancing short-term relief efforts with long-term sustainable development goals, overcoming donor fatigue and sustaining ongoing support for charitable initiatives. Overall, charity is a fundamental aspect of human society, reflecting our capacity for empathy, solidarity, and collective action in supporting those in need and striving for a better world. In Islam, zakat is a mandatory form of almsgiving and one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Allah Ta'ala, through the Quran and the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, emphasizes the importance of giving zakat and the rewards for those who fulfill this obligation. Here are a few references from the Quran regarding zakat and its rewards.
1. Asterisco asterisco Sure al-Baqarah, 2, 110, asterisco asterisco.
And establish prayer and give zakat, and whatever good you put forward for yourselves, you will find it with Allah. Indeed, Allah of what you do is seeing. 2. Surah At-Tawbah, 9 hours 60 minutes. As zakat expenditures are only for the poor and for the needy and for those employed to collect zakat, and for bringing hearts together for Islam, and for freeing captives or slaves, and for those in debt and for the cause of Allah and for the stranded traveler, an obligation imposed by Allah. And Allah is knowing and wise.
3 Surah Ar-Rum 39.
And whatever you give for interest to increase within the wealth of people will not increase with Allah. But what you give in zakat, desiring the countenance of Allah, those are the multipliers. These verses highlight the importance of giving zakat to those in need, as well as the spiritual rewards and blessings associated with fulfilling this obligation. Allah promises manifold rewards for those who give zakat sincerely and in accordance with Islamic teachings, including purification of wealth, blessings in this life, and rewards in the hereafter. The Quran contains several verses that mention zakat, emphasizing its importance, obligation, and the recipients of zakat. Here are some key points mentioned in the Quran regarding zakat. 1. Obligation of zakat. The Quran emphasizes the obligation of giving zakat as a form of worship and righteousness. For example, Surah Al-Baqarah 243 states, establish prayer and give zakat and bow with those who bow in worship and obedience. Surah Al-Baqarah 2:177 highlights zakat as one of the traits of righteous believers. Righteousness is not that you turn your faces toward the east or the west, but true righteousness is in one who believes in Allah, the last day, the angels, the book, and the prophets, and gives wealth, in spite of love for it, to relatives, orphans, the needy, the traveler, those who ask for help, and for freeing slaves. 2. Purpose of zakat. The Quran mentions the purpose of zakat, which includes helping the needy, supporting specific categories of people, and purifying one's wealth. For example, Surah At-Tawbah, 9 hours 60 minutes, delineates the categories of people eligible to receive zakat. Zakat expenditures are only for the poor and for the needy and for those employed to collect zakat, and for bringing hearts together for Islam, and for freeing captives or slaves, and for those in debt, and for the cause of Allah, and for the stranded traveler. Surah Ar-Rum 30:39 contrasts zakat with usury, interest, highlighting the spiritual benefits of giving zakat. And whatever you give for interest to increase within the wealth of people will not increase with Allah. But what you give in zakat, desiring the countenance of Allah, those are the multipliers. 3. Punishment for neglecting zakat. The Quran warns against neglecting the obligation of zakat and mentions the consequences for those who withhold it. For example, Surah At-Tawbah 9:34-35 warns those who hoard wealth and refuse to spend in the cause of Allah. O you who have believed, indeed many of the scholars and the monks devour the wealth of people unjustly and avert them from the way of Allah. And those who hoard gold and silver and spend it not in the way of Allah, give them tidings of a painful punishment. The day when it will be heated in the fire of hell, and seared therewith will be their foreheads, their flanks, and their backs. It will be said, this is what you hoarded for yourselves, so taste what you used to hoard. These verses highlight the significance of zakat in Islam, its purposes, and the consequences of neglecting this obligation. Zakat can be paid in various forms, depending on the type of wealth or assets one possesses. Here are common methods of paying zakat. 1. Cash. Zakat can be paid using cash or its equivalent. This includes money held in bank accounts, cash on hand, or any liquid assets readily available for use. 2. Gold and silver. Zakat can also be paid in the form of gold or silver, either in physical possession or its equivalent value in cash. The nisab, minimum threshold, for gold and silver is specified based on their weight and value. 3. Investments. Zakat is payable on income-generating assets such as stocks, shares, bonds, investment properties, and business profits. The calculation of zakat on investments typically involves assessing the total value of the assets and deducting any outstanding debts or expenses. 4. Agricultural produce. For individuals engaged in agricultural activities, zakat may be payable on the produce obtained from the land, subject to specific conditions and criteria outlined in Islamic jurisprudence. 5. Livestock. Zakat is applicable to certain types of livestock, such as cattle, sheep, goats, and camels, based on specific guidelines and criteria regarding the number of animals owned and their age. 6. Other assets. Zakat may also be payable on other types of assets, such as business inventory, precious metals, and rental income, depending on their value and eligibility criteria as outlined in Islamic teachings. It's important for individuals to calculate their zakat accurately based on their total wealth and assets, deducting any outstanding debts or expenses, and ensure that it is paid to eligible recipients, as mentioned in the Quran, within the Islamic lunar calendar year. Many Islamic organizations provide zakat calculators and guidelines to assist individuals in determining the amount of zakat owed and facilitating its payment. Thank for watching. If you like video, then subscribe my YouTube channel and press bell icon.